Hey traders, Akil Stokes here. Welcome back to another episode of the Trading Coach Podcast. If you guys are new, I am a Forex trader. I'm also a co-founder of Tier1Trading.com, the premier trading education platform out there. And if you're interested in learning how to trade, make sure you check out our 14-day trial. Head over to www.tier1trading.com, click Start 14-Day Trial, and indulge yourself in the greatness of our community and our educational content. Now, I was originally going to come on this podcast and vent today because this morning my Everton team, Everton club that I support, got blown out 6-2 by Spurs. But currently my Dallas Cowboys are winning. They are looking to lock up a playoff spot, which means I get a few more weeks, or at least one more week of enjoying football with rooting interest. And it may be a built-in excuse for me to head back down to Dallas to watch a game. Last time they were in the playoffs, I flew down there, got a big win, exciting time, just looking for a reason to do it again. But what I wanted to talk about today is a little bit about prioritizing. And it stems from an interesting conversation that I had this morning on the Twitter, right? So I guess first and foremost, if you guys are new, right, and you're listening to previous podcasts, you're going to hear me talk a lot about my son and my family, right? Part of this podcast is not just sharing with you my trading tips and whatnot. I think I do a lot of that, but it's also to give you kind of an insight to me, who I am, my journey, right? I have the unique journey of really starting off as a really bad struggling trader and working my way into the position where I become a consistently profitable trader. And I've kind of been tracking that journey the entire time since back in the day when I used to have blogs such as I Am Business and RatioTradingMentor.com to now where I'm doing YouTube videos and obviously the Trading Coach podcast. So for you guys that have been with me for a long time, you guys have seen me grow over the years. And I think it's something that's pretty cool for me to look back on when I get up there in age and I'm reminiscing on life. And hopefully it's something that is timeless. Hopefully it's something that my kids can look back on and learn about their father. And hopefully this can continue educating and helping people not only with trading, but as life, with parenthood and stuff like that, entrepreneurship, success, even when I'm done on this planet. I want to live forever. And this is going to be my legacy, right? But so if you've been listening, you know that my kid is an energy ball, right? I always talk about my kid has this massive amount of energy. He's running around full speed from early in the morning to late at night. And many of you guys are like, Akil, you're exaggerating. No kid is that wild. You're just embellishing it for the fans. But for you guys that attended our Tier 1 trading ball, you saw it. You saw it firsthand. Who was the first one on the dance floor? Who was nearly kicked out of the very expensive Alexander House Hotel because he was throwing rocks around in the lobby? Yeah. So you see, that's what I deal with on an everyday basis. And I try to play this game. Because my kid has so much energy and because I am guilted by being a good father, I typically, when I have something I want to do, right, work-wise, I try to wake up as early as possible, right? I figure if my kid's going to be up 7, I'm going to work up 6 and get an hour of work done before he gets up and before I start entertaining him, right? My other kid is 4 months old, not even that. So, my wife, you can imagine, she doesn't get a lot of sleep, so I want to take the pressure off of her as much as I can. Now, my kid also plays a game. He plays the game. When I hear daddy wake up, I'm going to wake up too and get after it. So we play this game. I wake up 6, he wakes up 6. Oh, man. I wake up 5 to try to catch him off guard. He wakes up 5. I wake up 4, he wakes up 4. And I can never beat him. So I woke up this morning. I sneak downstairs. He's fast asleep. And I start getting working. And then I hear, Daddy! And he's up. He's up. And once again, I have trouble getting the work done that I want to do because I feel bad about putting him in a room and saying, hey, watch TV while I do something else and ignore you. I don't think that's being a good parent. But at the same time, I have a business to run. And I was talking to a new follower on the Twitter this morning about just goal setting and the to-do list and how he prioritizes stuff. And we went down this path talking about different tactics, different skills. If you guys want to look back at a Trading Coach podcast, there's a few episodes where I talk about how to organize your to-do list, how to prioritize your schedule in the most efficient way. I think those are great lessons, very helpful, especially as we look to start the new year, if this is indeed coming out before the new year. But one of the things he talked about is that he said, I always put my family first. I think he has a newborn as well. I always put my family first. And it got me thinking, right? It got me thinking because I am a firm believer in that, right? Family is first. I believe that we are driven to be successful when our why is strong enough, right? When our why outweighs our why not, we are driven to find success. And I'm looking at a post right now on social media I did that says excuses not to do. It says, my friends will be upset if I stop hanging out. My family wants me to do something else. My schedule is too busy. Why would people choose me? I'm not meant to be successful. I might fail. And the caption I put with it was, the next time you start convincing yourself why you can't do something, try grabbing a piece of paper and writing down 5 reasons why you should and 5 reasons why you can't. And if you were to do that task, you'll see that most of the reasons you probably come up with are the why. It's not necessarily the what, right? You want to start a business. Okay, what do you do? Why? Why do you want to start a business? Well, you want to gain financial independence. Well, you want to gain financial freedom. Well, you're philanthropic. You want to help someone else. You want to pay it forward. There has to be some underlying reason for why you're doing something, because if there isn't, you're not going to really be driven to do it, right? The thing that drives us is not the money. It's something else. And I know for me, it was creating my perfect life. It was financial independence. It was freedom of time, which was more important. But it was just the idea that I want to be a father. I want to be a parent. I want to be a husband that is fully dedicated to his family. I want to see school plays. I want to see sporting events. I want to, put ourselves in a situation where my wife can follow her dreams, right? Those are my whys: family, family, family. But the dilemma that I have is, I sometimes think that even though family is first and by far it's the why, that I will put my business ahead of it. And if you're a Gary Vee listener out there, you hear this from Gary Vee a lot. And this is kind of one of the biggest things. Me and Jason Greystone agree on many things in life, many things in business. One of the things we kind of disagree on is with Gary Vee's, really his stance on family. And he puts off the impression, I don't know him personally, but he puts off the impression that family is always second. Like, he spends no time at home. He's working 1,000 hours a week, and he gets home, doesn't really have that much time with family. Now, he also talks about he dedicates certain weeks to vacation, certain weeks to being with his family. And when he's at home, he's fully at home. He's not working. He's fully locked in with his family, which I respect. But I can see where he's coming from, because think about it from this way. Okay, so if my number one goal is to do what I do and grow my business and really develop something that my family can inherit in the future, right? Isn't working on that putting my family first? Isn't building the infrastructure for the future Stokes generation, isn't that putting my family first? Yeah, it's not physically, it may be saying, hey, I'm going to do work right now instead of go to the park with you, or I'm going to do this project right now instead of watch this cartoon. But by doing that project, by working on whatever I'm working on, it's an investment in my family. It's just not hands-on at the time. It's in the future. And that's something that I think about all the time, because does that count? I'd love to hear what you guys think. Does that count? Is my mindset correct? Is working helping my family, or is it just something that I tell myself to justify working? And that's the other thing, right? Well, we know that we can convince ourselves to do whatever we want. So maybe I want to work, and therefore I say, well, by me working, I'm helping my family, therefore I should work. And that's how I convince myself and to really kind of make those type of sacrifices. But I'm usually pretty honest with myself. So I do think it's the former. I do think that I'm working so hard right now to invest in my family's future that even by working and maybe missing out on some things now, that it really still is benefiting my family for the future. You just can't see it yet, right? Just the same as any building, right? Before a new building gets built, what happens first? Right? The foundation gets laid, all the stuff underground that you don't see. Right? For any of you guys that started up businesses, right? Your first probably 1-2 years in business. And in fact, maybe before you even start the business, what is happening? The planning and the groundwork, right? And the business maybe pops 2 years later, but you spent 2 years investing in that business, right? So it's an interesting conversation. It's an interesting conversation. And again, I do believe in finding the balance. I do believe in that, there should be a time where you're clocked in at work, and there should be a time where you're clocked in with family, and you shouldn't do all of one and all of the other, right? You can't just be with your family 100% of the time, or your work's going to struggle. Right? You can't just be in your work 100% of the time, because your relationships with your family and your wife and your husband, whoever it is, your friends, that's going to struggle as well. So you do have to find that balance. But I think at the end of the day, we have to realize that in both aspects, right, we're working, if that's your why, I should say, we're working for the same goal, right? When you're with your family, you're working for your family, building relationships and building that bond and teaching skills. When you're working on your business, you're also working on your family, just from more of a financial perspective than a kind of a hands-on personal perspective and And that's kind of my thoughts. So again, interesting conversation. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. This podcast is on YouTube, so you can leave a comment in the comment section below. If you're listening to this on the various podcasting apps that it comes on, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, CastBox, Podbean, wherever it is, iHeartRadio, shoot me a message on social media. I'm on Instagram at Akil Stokes RTM. I'm at Twitter at Akil Stokes RTM. I'm on Facebook, Akil Stokes Trading Coach, or just facebook.com/Akil Stokes RTM. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Not only would I like some reassurance, but I like the difference in perspective as well. I'm not locked into thinking that, hey, my way of thinking is the right way or is the say-all be-all. Doesn't mean I'll change, right? I'm a very stubborn person. Doesn't mean I'll change, but I'm always open to hearing other perspectives and adjusting my life for that. In fact, if you listen to, I think, Trading Coach Podcast, episode 123, it was a conversation I had with my two business partners, Jason and Darren, about, do you have to be passionate about trading to be very, very successful? And when we first started that conversation, I was very dug in on, yes, you cannot be successful in trading unless you are passionate about it. But as we started conversing, my opinion changed a little bit. So I like the back and forth. And I think these are questions that we need to ask ourselves, especially for you guys that are older and you're going to, take the leap into trading or take the leap into some other entrepreneurial venture, and you have to sacrifice a massive amount of time up front. It's important to kind of know this, because you got to convince yourself to do what you have to do when you don't want to do it, and that's going to take sacrifice. And for you guys that are young, that haven't started a family yet, right? I know when I first started trading, I was horrible. I invested every single waking hour of my life into learning how to trade, and I wasn't a good boyfriend. I wasn't a good friend. Luckily, the friends I have and my girlfriend, now wife, are very supportive, and they were able to kind of have my back during that period. But as I look back on it, I certainly didn't have that balance. I was 100% driven into one single thing, and yeah, it worked out, but it could have easily, right, if the people were different, could have easily went the other way. So hit me up on social, let me know what you think. Make sure you rate and review this podcast. That's a massive help. And make sure you hit that share button. I love it when you guys do that. We're driving and growing the show each and every week. I can see the numbers. More and more people are listening. More importantly, I can see the comments. And I can't tell you how many comments I get each and every show where it's like, hey, Akil, just want to say that this podcast really touched me. And that's the type of stuff that allows us to really see that we're doing the right thing. And it really keeps us motivated to put out this massive amount of free content while we're trying to balance all the other aspects of life. So until next time, gang, plan your trade your plan, and a happy new year to you.